Welcome to another video. This time it's in English because I was thinking of making a ride review of my Privateer 161 Gen 2. I usually speak Swedish, but since other people might come across this video, it might be useful to hear my thoughts about this bike. This is the Privateer 161 Gen 2 that was released last year, I think, 2024. I got this bike in the beginning of May. And right now it's a killer deal. I think it's 40% off the price, so I paid 2,600 something euros for it, which is bonkers if you ask me. This is a P2, which is kind of like the medium size, I guess. But it's really big for a medium. That was like the biggest thing for me, moving from my typical medium bikes, which are like 450 reach, something like that. And this is 470, quite a long wheelbase as well, decently long chainstays. And I got this bike just because, I don't know, I like bikes. I actually had two other bikes at the time. A propane spindrift, which was 180, 190 travel, which was my park bike, which I sold because this replaced that bike. And my other trail bike, which are on my channel a lot, the DV8 Highlander, which unfortunately was stolen. So now I only have this bike, which is not a downside, since it works pretty well for trails, bike parks, everything. Well, basically it's 161 millimeters of travel in the back and 170 in the front. 64 degrees head angle, 77, 78 seat tube angle, something like that. Pretty bog standard enduro numbers. And the reach is 470, which is kind of on the large side if you just look back a few years, I think. Oh, flies here. So basically my impressions with this bike is it's pretty damn good for a bike. It didn't take long for me to get used to the size, and it's not a downside, I would say, to size up, because I think it gives you a lot of confidence, and it also works pretty good on jumps and stuff. So basically, if we start from the back, I ordered the bike in beginning of May. It took about 5-6 days for the bike to arrive, which is pretty good if you compare to other manufacturers. I had a propane that took like 4 months to get, and stuff like that. And I don't usually buy complete bikes. I usually buy a frame, and this is a complete bike because the spec is pretty good, if you ask me. So the front is a Fox 38 Performance Elite. It has a Fox X2 Performance Elite in the back, and Tram GX drivetrain, pretty good if you ask me. Hunt Enduro wide wheels, Maxxis tires, race face cockpit, one-up dropper. Pretty good, if you ask me, for the price, since Fox Performance Elite is the same as Fox Factory, but it's black stanchions basically. So the price is really good for what you get, and the bike is set up in the 29er full, but there's a flip chip. So I have a 27.5 back wheel that I haven't tried yet, just because I hate, like, when you change wheels, the gears are always off and the brakes are always off, so I have to adjust that every time, and it's so annoying. And I haven't found that 29ers are holding me back or giving me troubles. I've ridden 29ers for quite a while now, so I'm not that tall. I'm like 174, 75 centimeters. I don't know what that is in feet. 5'7", 5'8" maybe. Um, so, and I was unsure about the size, but my DV8 Highlander was 460 reach, but it had a longer effective top tube, but a lower stack. This has a higher stack, a shorter effective top tube, but 470 reach. I don't know the wheelbase. I'm not that bothered actually. So delivery was fast, and buying it on the website really good. Privateer is a UK/Canadian brand, I think. They have a warehouse in the EU, so no taxes or any other unwanted fees. That's really good. So I think the price landed on, if you speak Swedish kroners, it was 30,000 Swedish kroners, which is really good for a bike this magnitude, with this spec and everything. And I also forgot to mention the bike came with Hayes Dominion A4 brakes, which are pretty expensive and are pretty hyped. I don't know if you can see it, but they're not on the bike right now. So basically delivery was fast, but straight away packing it up from the box, I noticed that the first issue was that the front brake hose, basically the handlebar was off, and it was dangling in the box, and they had fastened the screw on the fork, so the brake hose was like dangling from the point, and it was really kinked. I can insert some pictures of that, which didn't seem to affect brake performance, but if it like would have been that way for a longer time, the brake cable would have snapped eventually and fluid everywhere. So the brakes worked and kind of straightened themselves out when I like straightened the hose, and but Privateer was pretty good. They gave me I actually ordered a new hose for the front brake, and they paid me back the amount. It was like 42 euros for the Hayes brake line, so it was good. I liked it. So getting in touch with Privateer is pretty fast. You email them or chat with them. It takes maybe one day before they answer, which is pretty decent. I'm guessing they have a lot of volumes right now, since the discount is crazy for both the 161 and the 141. Other issue straight away from the box was that the Fox X2 was cavitated, so it made the slushing sound that's pretty common on X2s. But I know it's a common issue, and it's not Privateer's fault, because they buy the shocks and they just put them on the bike. But I think they would have noticed it if they would have cycled the suspension, because straight away you hear the slushing sound. It goes away after like a few cycles, and it worked. But anyways, I contacted them, and I told them I will give this to my local suspension technician who has a deal with Fox, and he will make a warranty issue of it, and they were fine with that. And it took maybe 2 weeks, and I got the shock back. This is actually not the shock. This is a Fox X2 Performance without high-speed rebound. Basically, I didn't want to be without a shock, so I bought this shock really cheap from bikediscount.de. I think it cost me like 120 euros for a Fox X2, which is crazy. They have a lot of cheap stuff, suspension, so check it out if you're looking. So it's still on the bike. I haven't reinstalled the Performance Elite one, because it's freshly serviced. I can just use it when this needs a service, because high-speed rebound isn't a big issue for me, to be honest. It isn't the same tune. This is coming off a cube bike, I think, but I don't mind. Um, but basically, that was the first two issues of the bike. Other other than that, it was just installing the wheels, installing the handlebar, and to go out and bike. Pretty good, if you ask me, and pretty nice. The gears were still perfect, and I really like that because in the past when I've ordered complete bikes, the gears are always off and the brakes are rubbing and everything. Here everything was perfect, brakes weren't rubbing, so basically that's good. Um, so basically, what do I think after like 1.5 months of using the bike? Well, I think it's a pretty awesome bike. I really like it. It gives me a lot of confidence. It replaced my spin drift, which was 180, 190, because this is much better. I think it has to do with the geometry. The spin drift is the old generation, and the reach is pretty short. For me, and this just plows much better. Um, so that's really good because it's 161, 170. It's enough for bike park for me at least, and enough for my local trails. Uh, I haven't taken the bike on like an XC ride because that seems pointless if you ask me. Um, and that's not my riding style. I like enduro downhill. So basically, the last 1.5 months, I've been exclusively doing bike park. First Järvsö in late May, and then I've been to Ulricehamn ski bike park for a few times, since that's my like nearest big local bike park, like an hour away from where I live. And it's been pretty awesome. What I've noticed though is I've like maybe after maybe 2 weeks I had some really excessive cracking coming from the bike. And which it's common if you go bike parking, but I couldn't find the source of it, and basically I stripped the bike, all the bolts and the linkage, and everything was bone dry. They haven't put a single blob of grease on any of the bolts, so it's not that strange that the bike was creaking a lot. Same with the headset, not a single drop of grease. The dropper, nothing there. They had some Loctite on the bolts, which is good. They still unwinded themselves though, which is it's common. It happens. So basically, I'm usually pretty meticulous with checking linkage bolts, but this time I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Maybe because I'm lazy, I don't know. But basically, I found that one of the bearings in the seat stay where it connects to the rocker link, the bearing is completely shot after 2 weeks, so it's like makes a grinding noise. And I think it's a bit side to side play, which is pretty bad if you ask me. And these are enduro bearings. I don't know why. That's maybe it's like they pressed the bearing in and it got damaged. It's still in there though. I removed it. Well, not the bearing, but the bolts. I cleaned it. I greased it like hell, and now it's pretty good. I contacted Privateer about this, and it took maybe 3 weeks, but they sent me like 2 new flip chips, bolts, bearings. So I will change the bearings in a while, because well, I can't bother right now. It doesn't affect the performance actually, and it's quite frustrating that I have to change a bearing after 2 weeks of using the bike, and it's enduro bearings as well, which are pretty good and hyped. At least I don't believe in the hype of bearings, because I've used a lot of premium bearings and they are just as bad as medium priced ones. if you ask me. Um, so basically that's it. So, and I had a lot of cracking noises, and I've just removed everything, cleaned it and greased them, and I think most of the cracking noises are gone right now. I haven't checked if the play is still in the seat stay, but I think it's pretty good now. So that's quite of a bummer. It happens, but I think I expected more from a brand that it's more suited towards racers and maintenance, and it's not a premium brand, but it's not a budget brand at all. Um, Otherwise, the bike is really easy to work with. External cable routing everywhere, which is a blessing. So easy to work with. Fox 38 is really good fork, nothing to complain about. X2, I haven't used the X2 before, and I really like it. It's kind of more linear than other shocks, so it's more coil-like. The bike is really progressive, which I haven't really noticed because I bottom out shock a lot, and I use more than the recommended PSI in the shock with this shock and the original shock as well. So I don't know what's up there. Anyways, I just dial in the compression a bit more, and it's good, and it's fine. It's fine. The fork seems impossible to bottom out. I think, but still it feels pretty plush and supportive and good. So that's good. Otherwise, SRAM GX drivetrain, really, I like SRAM GX. I like the GX derailleur. It has the lockout on the derailleur when you remove the wheel, which is so good. That's the only way only why I prefer SRAM derailleurs. So that's pretty good, and it's a decent drivetrain. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like GX cassette as well. So the back wheel is XT driver. All my other wheels are microspline, which isn't a problem because you can mix cassettes no problem at all. 180 dropper. I have a bit of a, well, I think I could fit like a 210 dropper there, but I don't have any problems with like standover height or seat clearance. So that's pretty good, if you ask me. What else? I put my own seat. It's an Ergon SM Enduro saddle. I can only use Ergon saddles because otherwise my balls will hurt like hell. That's changed. Pedals DMR Volt, which are my go-to pedal. I've used them for, I don't know, over 10 years maybe. Not these ones, but the model. I changed the grips because that's a personal preference as well. These are the PD's Monarch mushroom grips, which are pretty good. I like them. The wheels, Hunt Enduro wheels. I've used Hunt before, and the quality haven't been that good, but this seems to hold up really good. Still straight, still spinning good. Haven't had to tighten any spokes, so that's good. The bike came with Hayes Dominion A4 brakes. I've used the brakes for a month, and the brakes are powerful, really powerful, of course. But in my opinion, the max power of the brakes still is on par with Shimano XT or Saint or SLX, 4-pot of course. I've been using Shimano for like almost my whole riding career, apart for some like other brands that I've used for a short while. So I like Shimano brakes. Never had any issues with them. So I used them for a month. Good power. Not that like blown away by the power. The Dominion A4s are really hyped because you see the big riders ride with them. And I'm not saying that they're bad, and they're not like it's just marketing. They're good brakes. Like the slight advantage over like Shimano XTs or something like that is there is slight better modulation, especially if you want to creep down stuff. It's harder to lock the back wheel, which I don't know if it's a positive. So they're good, and the ergonomics are pretty good. Don't like the lever clamp though, but the lever is really light. That's good. Um, but the biggest issue for me is that I didn't get used to the brakes. I came in situations where I would brake and I would always ram a tree because the power wasn't coming at the point where I was expecting it. And I tried some different pads, different settings. It didn't help for me, so I had to think a lot about that. I think they made me skid less though, so maybe that's good. Another bad point is there are really noisy brakes. There are really noisy brakes. Kind of like SRAM brakes, which are, I mean, the old codes and stuff are really noisy brakes. They're not contaminated. I've cleaned them. I've changed to different pads, and they are so noisy. And I've confirmed this as well from talking to other people who have them, and also when I watch like other YouTubers who use Dominion A4s, I can hear they're noisy as fuck. Not all of the time, but most often. It was the biggest problem of the back brake. So not contaminated, nothing leaking, nothing like that. The power was there. So basically, after a month, I felt like no, I want to go back to my Shimano brakes. So I went back to Shimano XTs and sold the Dominion A4s for a decent price. I think they're not that used. And so basically, I'm back on Shimano XTs, not the new one, since, well, I don't believe in marketing hype. They look pretty good, but the old ones are pretty good. A lot of people talk about the wandering bite point. The solution to that is using Putterline oil, fork oil instead in the brakes, and the wandering bite point will disappear, and they will work pretty awesome in the cold as well. It's a 220 rotor in the front and 203 in the back, which are pretty massive if you ask me. I thought the bike was it was spec'd with 180 203, but I got it with this, so I'm not to complain. The Hayes rotors, nothing wrong with them, pretty good. It's pretty straight still. It's really good. Downhill performance, of course. It's an enduro bike. Works pretty good in the bike park. I think it's surprisingly really good at jumps, even in 29er mode, and the long, like it's longer than I'm used to, and I think it's really confidence inspiring in the jumps. Big bike park jumps, like dirt jumps, is of course it's not that good. It works, but so that's pretty good. I've it's a bit harder to turn in tight, twisty trails, of course, because since it's longer. Maybe that will help if I change to a 27.5 wheel. But the trails around here where I live in Gothenburg are pretty straight and chunky and enduro, big jumps. So that's good. So yeah, I like the bike. I will continue to like review it and maybe give more thoughts later on when I do more stuff. I've done a lot of maintenance on the bike already after 1.5 months, which is pretty bummer, but that's how it goes sometimes. The Maxxis tires, it's AXA guy in the front, DHR2 in the back, double down casing, AXO Plus in the front. Double down casing, it's pretty decent. I still feel like I get a lot of rim strikes if I don't go really up in pressures, maybe 32 psi, something like that. But they've held on pretty good for this period. But I will probably be changing to a DH casing tire or something else. Depends on if I change the wheel as well. Really nice to pedal with if you go at a steady pace. Not an XC bike at all. It's pretty heavy. I don't know. I haven't weighed this one, but maybe 16 kilos, maybe. Don't know. Don't care. but basically that's it. Like pedaling around, like going fire roads, like going off asphalt road, transporting myself, it's no issue at all. If you're going to do a lot of technical climbing, it will probably get exhausting after a while, but it works. It depends on like who you're riding with and what kind of ride you're on. But I haven't seen any like. For me, this is the perfect like all-around bike. Because with my Highlander, I felt like it was really underbiked, especially 140 travel in the back. So I bottomed out a lot, and it was pretty harsh on doing bike park or big drops with it. But the Geo was good on that bike, and it was pretty good. I will continue to ride the bike, of course, and I will give you an update maybe in the future what happens. I don't have any plans of changing anything else. I like the spec a lot. I really wanted to like the brakes and keep them, but like the noise was the selling point for me. I couldn't stand the noise. So noisy brakes. Maybe I did something wrong, I don't know. But I sold them, and I have a pair of Shimano XTs for pot. Pretty good. So that's it basically. Just good bike, good solid bike. If you're watching this and there's still a discount and you're looking for an enduro bike, I will add a link in the description as well with all the bike and the specs. Also insert some pictures and videos of the problems I've had. So that's it basically. I'm gonna go for a short ride now, so tag along. Okay, time for some shredder jump line. See if I don't destroy my wheel again. Oh, ooh. Oh, victory. Happened to my brakes. Nice. Fabulosa. Oh, fabulous. Favorite trail. Oh, it's loose. Right, quarantena, quarantine. Oh, so many pine cones. Oh. so overgrown. Oh, I forget this tree. Where am I going? Änggårdsbergen, Owl Trail. See if it works. It's pretty dry. Oh, there's no lip. It's like ice. Ooh. That's it for today. Back to work.